Okay, so this is gonna be really short. First of all, I gained like 5 pounds, so my face is like really full. I look swollen. I just gained weight, but I gained it in my face and my butt only. So I am going to probably eat tonight and then do like a 24-hour fast. But I'm so helpless. I have learned helplessness from growing up, and it's just like I still have it now. So I called out Thursday. I only work 4 days a week and I do 10-hour shifts. But I called out Thursday and then I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And all 4 days I laid in bed and scrolled on TikTok or Instagram. And I feel fine because I'm giving myself like the dopamine hit. But I know that I am severely depressed right now. And I'm sad. I'm really sad. And I'm super hopeless. Like, if someone doesn't save me, someone doesn't come in my life and give me the steps to do it, like, I'm just not gonna do it. Because I really believe deep down that I can't do it. I'm gonna fail. Yeah. Tomorrow's the 1st, and my rent is $1,200, and I have $400, and I could have worked Friday, Saturday, and get some overtime to get money, but or to make up for Thursday, and I just couldn't be bothered to get out of bed. I am gonna ask for extension to the 14th, so then I have 2 weeks to try to work and like make money. But I don't even know if by the 14th I'll have enough. And I don't care. And I don't care about the consequences. So I'm in my car and I am considering going out to eat, even though I don't have enough money for rent. I don't even have a quarter. But I just don't care. I really don't. And I know that like I'm doing this to myself, but it's just like when you are like internalize, when people, they don't give you responsibilities, they don't ask you to do stuff, like, because they don't believe you're gonna do it. And rightfully so, I was such a bad kid. But it's just like you internalize all that and then you believe that you just can't. And so it's just like I've always had like all these dreams, like I want to do this, and I still have hope, but it's just like deep down I'm just hopeless, and I don't think I'll ever achieve anything because I just won't do it if I don't have help. And I'm so delusional that in my head I'm like, it's okay, it's gonna work out. Because I've been, for the past year and a half, my whole life, but really, really rough for the past year and a half, just like paycheck to paycheck. Every month I don't know how I'm gonna make rent. I'm just stressed. And that stress that I would feel would like get me, that cortisol spike would like get me like, all right, how am I gonna do this? And I'll start moving. It's just like, now that I feel the cortisol that's just been simmering in the background of my life my whole life, it's just like I don't care. And it's just like I'll have to push myself to like be homeless, or like real consequences to make me like try. And then after I find a place, I'll go back to being like this. And I got my learned helplessness from hope, but the depression, the misery, the low moods, I got that from, learned behavior from seeing my mom do it. And I know that it's not me, but I don't know. if I'm not scrolling, then I get really sad. So I just have to scroll because my body doesn't produce serotonin and all these other things. I only, all I produce is because, all I have is dopamine, and I have to scroll to give myself the hit and to like clear my mind, or I just feel everything. And because I do have a victim mindset, because I know that I'm doing this, but it's just like my body doesn't know that I'm doing this. So it's like I know this is the product of how I live, but it's just like I just see what's happening to me and I just feel like lost and stuck. I don't know. I really need like my delusions to keep me afloat. My maladaptive daydreams to keep me from just despair. And throughout the day, laying in bed, and I am so fucked up, man. There's so much stuff wrong with me, and like for the first time, like seeing my energy that I give off and like the demeanor, and like I understand. I look like such a violent person. I give off that energy, and I've never been like really in like any fights or in trouble with the jail, but I just give off that, and I don't know. I think it's somewhere in me. I don't know. I am Tuesday doing an interview with the military. The Air Force to see. And I really don't want to do it, but it's just like, it can't be worse than how I'm living now. It can't. Another thing is like, I feel like people who come from like fucked up families, like they, girls, they, no matter how much they try, like a lot of them just, end up living like their, their parents, their moms. And guys end up being just like their dads. And I am just like my mom. I was with her for 5 years, but I live exactly how she did. Just in survival mode, depressed, miserable, social anxiety. A big thing that when we were kids, we didn't have any electricity. She refused to work, and in my house, I have electricity, but my light bulbs are all out, and I refuse to change them or talk to landlord to have them changed. So there's no lights in my room. There's lights in the kitchen and the bathroom. So I have my lamp turned on, but it's just like waking up morning and night and staying in the dark. I have no windows. Just reminds me of just like how my mom lived. And refusing to work. She refused to work, and she had crying kids that were hungry. She refused to do anything, and it's just like, I have rent that's due, and I refuse to work overtime. I just... And it's like through all of this, I still have my delusions of, simmering at the underneath everything. Like, I'm meant for more, and I believe that I'm gonna do this and this and this, but it's just like, and I've always felt that, but I'm just like, I wonder if it's like another delusion that I carry to keep me afloat. Like, don't give up on life, because in a couple years you're gonna have a great life. It's been 7 and I live the same way, just moving around. And just the sad part is, like, I feel all this, and I doubt I'll change unless someone helps me. And it's the fucked up part. It's like when you know your problems you have, but it's like you just don't have the energy, you don't care to change. And it makes me mad that I live like this, but it sucks. I have no one to be mad at. So I have no outlet, It's weird to be mad for no reason. I realized that, which is good. I know I have to realize, like, hard stuff about myself, but I was never liked. I don't have a likable personality. Growing up, everyone was in the same area at the same time. You didn't get to go off and do your own thing. So it's like, we were raised like sisters, and it's like, you didn't have to be liked. You don't have to have friends, because you're never alone. You're always in the kitchen together, activities, you were always together. And it's just like, I never cared to be liked or what people thought of me, because I never had to face the consequences of that, because I was never alone. I was always with, the Hope Girls, my roommates, and, realizing that I'm not a likable person. It kind of hurt, but it's, I need to realize that. And my energy, I was so cruel, so vicious at the home. And I still had all these friends, and was never alone, because, you all were always together. And it's just like, just realizing that how I was, makes me sad. And my energy is so dark, and just all the stuff I got away with because I was mean looking, and because I didn't have to try. And now I'm out, and I live the same way, and I have no friends. If I'm in a place too long, I'm having an issue with someone, and it sucks. And I can take responsibility, right now. Just realize that in most of these scenarios, I am the problem. And, just keep on pulling up insight about how I am to people, and why I make people uncomfortable, and, the energy I give off, and just keep on, like, excavating and just learning more and more about myself. But I just don't have the energy to start taking accountability. I don't have the energy to change. I don't have the energy to be polite and say good morning to people when I walk in the room. And I just walk right past. I don't have the energy for small talk. So, I just don't have the energy to change. I'm very rude. And I struggled with that since childhood. I would always get in trouble for being rude, not being polite, not having manners. I just didn't have the energy. It was like in survival mode. It didn't matter if you were liked. You got the same things that people were liked were. And so it's just like, I didn't have to build social skills. And, you know, my life represents that. I'm very rude. I will not, you know, I have social anxiety, social, like, settings just drain me unless I, like, know you for, like, childhood. Super comfortable. And the only one I'm really comfortable with is my sister and my brothers, because we grew up together. And I don't have to, like, pretend, like, fix my face. I'm uncomfortable with one of my brothers, but because we don't talk, so, like, and I have social anxiety, so, like, he feels like a stranger to me. It's like when you talk with strangers and you have to keep the conversation going, and you have to, like, you know, I don't have the energy for that, so I just don't even talk to him. But, you know, growing up, I just didn't have energy for anything. I was so shut down, and so I was so rude, like, to you know, put energy into just saying hi to someone, and, like, the mental, like, dialogue that I would have, like, I'm making them uncomfortable, like, you know, all of that, like, I just don't have energy for it. I never did. And I want a better life. I want to get surgery to where I don't scare people and they don't, you know, see my face trauma. And I want to work on my mental health, and, you know, I have mental arrested development, and I'm working on that, actually. I am, because that doesn't take much energy. It just takes, you know, just insight and awareness. And, like, I find with, like, arrested development, like, you know, like, you know, just realizing, like, this is what my childhood like self would do. And then, like, it's like, I don't know, your body, like, for me, I just, like, naturally, because it's like little things that I'm, like, getting awareness of, and, like, I naturally, like, change it. And so, yeah. I don't know. I don't think anything could faze me. Like, I was homeless before for 9 months. It didn't faze me. I'm paycheck to paycheck, like, about to lose everything, you know. I don't have insurance. I'm driving without insurance. I don't have money for rent. I'm about to get fired from my job. I've been about to get fired from my job for like 4 or 5 months. You know, they're always asking, like, you know, you need to fire her. And I just wait for the day. But it's just like, I am living on the edge, and I just don't even care. I don't feel anything besides sadness, and I don't want to do anything dumb, because I know it just hurts me in the end. So, and all of this energy is like victim mindset, because I know I can change it. I just don't have the energy to. And even if I did have the energy, like, I just, in my body, I'm like, I can't. I just can't do it. So, and it's crazy because I feel bad for myself. And I know, I mean, I don't believe I could change. That's probably why I feel bad for myself. And I have, like, a strong victim mentality, because I don't, deep down, I don't think I could do it. I was not meant to live this life. I'm not someone who can be successful without help. And that's probably some areas that I have the arrested development, and with my mindset and how I treat life is the same way I treated Hope, the same way I treated college. I just don't know. So Tuesday I have my meeting with the guy from the Air Force, and I'm really scared. I don't want to do it because I don't want to sign a contract and be, I'm scared of like being stuck somewhere. It's worse than being helpless and living the way I do, because I still have a sense of agency. But like, to be stuck somewhere and feel this way and know that you, like, for 4 years you're tied there, that's just that's a lower, deeper, like, feeling I don't want. It reminds me of being at Hope and how I felt the same way I felt now, and I was stuck. I didn't have a license, I didn't know anything about the real world. I was stuck there, and it was a good place, safe place. Like, I can never talk bad about it, but because I had all these like mental health issues, and back then it was, we were raised like boomers, like, just keep doing it, push through it, and I just shut down, and it was the worst feeling ever, feeling like I am, but then feeling like you're stuck there. Like, I don't do leases, I don't do any type of like phone plan contract, everything's month to month because I have to feel agency. And so yeah, I'm really nervous about joining the Air Force, because if I'm feeling the same way I'm feeling now, but then being stuck for 4 years and being like put into like like being sent to like a crappy area in the middle of nowhere, like my brother was. He went to Texas, but it was like the city in Texas had nothing, so it's like just it was just bars. I don't know, I just feel even worse than I feel now. But I'm just really tired, and I feel like, I don't know, my mind, I was raised by my maladaptive daydream. My mind really raised me. Anything I needed as a kid, love, attention, wasn't getting, I would just daydream it, but like I'd feel it. I'd feel the love from daydreaming. Maladaptive daydream is so vivid about people loving each other and a strong connection. I'd feel it, and not getting love or attention or treated the way I needed to be treated. Not like I was abused or anything, but it's just like I needed so much as a kid. I was I was a wreck, and so like my mind just like played out the scenarios where I needed it. And so I don't know where I was going with that. Where was I going with that? I don't know. And I think maybe my mom, because she would sit there and just be in her head, and I wonder if she was like doing the same thing, just escaping like where she is. But oh, I know what I was going. So like my mind, everything is in my head. All the delusions, the daydreams, everything is what keeps me going. If I'm feeling low, I'll scroll to get dopamine hit, but it's just like I'm always daydreaming about having attention. I feel like I'm getting enough attention that a person needs. If I'm touch deprived, I'm thinking about couples and getting like the serotonin and all that I need to like keep me afloat. And underneath all of the delusions that I built is wounds, and they're deep ones. And I was raised with all white people, so it's just like, and racism was not like, you were punished if you're racist, but we were never around black people we were always in white communities. Whenever we were around, you know, black people, it was like we were helping the poor, or VBS when we would like do the bus ministries to like the ghetto, the hood. And so like the contrast of being like living good and then like seeing black people is only when every time we're like helping, or you know, you back then when you watch the news, it was always like black people, all the news. I don't know, it's just like the internal racism that a lot of people have and they don't know it, like I have it. And because I'm black, I internalized it, but it's so weird because even though I knew like my features were different and I knew that I was black, like deep down I didn't think I was black. Like it's like my mind, it was such a like harsh thing to like internalize stuff, stigmas about your race, and you just see black skin color and then you realize like, and then you're black, so then you fall under it, and it was like too much for my mind. So it's like my mind just closed the door, and like I didn't deep down think I was black. You know, I was like, well, I act different, I talk different, and so, you know, if you act different, you're gonna get treated different. And like I was always around white people, I only had white friends. And then, you know, like a couple months ago, I had the shocking realization that, you know, I am black, my skin color is black. I think I was like in a white space and I was like seeing a black girl and she was ghetto, and I'm like, why is she here? Like in my head was thinking that, and was judging her by just her skin color. And then I was like, I had like my mind, you know, took down that like barrier, and I realized that that is me. Like I'd be in the same spot and someone would see that about me, and like I freaked out and like had like, you know, it was a trip. But like under that, once I realized that I am black, like it was like so much like shame against being black and like all of these wounds. And so like, yeah, so under these delusions, I know it's wounds. I don't know what's going with that.